আপন করিয়া রাঙা, আপন করিয়া রাঙা চরণে রাখি, আপন করিয়া রাঙা চরণে রাখি। গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি, গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি। তোমার চরণ লাগি সবতে আগিনো, তোমার চরণ লাগি সবতে আগিনো। শীতল চরণ পাইয়া, শীতল চরণ পাইয়া শরণ লইলু, শীতল চরণ পাইয়া শরণ লইলু। গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি, গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি। একুলে ও কুলে মুই দিলু তিলাঞ্জলি, একুলে ও কুলে মুই দিলু তিলাঞ্জলি। রাখি চরণে মোরে, রাখি চরণে মোরে আপনার বলি, রাখি চরণে মোরে আপনার বলি। গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি, গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি। বাসুদেব ঘোষ বলে চরণে ধরিয়া, বাসুদেব ঘোষ বলে চরণে ধরিয়া। কৃপা করি রাখো মোরে, কৃপা করি রাখো মোরে পদ ছায়া দিয়া কৃপা করি রাখো মোরে পদ ছায়া দিয়া গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও আপন করিয়া রাঙা আপন করিয়া রাঙা চরণে রাখিও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও।
Hare Krishna. Okay, this is a beautiful bhajan by Vasudev Ghosh. Translation. Gauranga Tumi more daya na chhadi ha. O Lord Gauranga, please do not neglect to show me your mercy. Apana Korea Ranga Charane Rakhiho, making me your own very property, kindly keep me situated at the reddish soles of your feet. Tomara Charana Lagi Sab Teyaginu, Shitala Charana Paya Sharana Loinu. With the intention of attaining your feet, I have utterly renounced everything. Now I have taken full shelter of your soothing lotus feet. 3. E kule o kule moi dilu tilanjali, rakhi ho charana more apanara boli. Whether I'm related to this family lineage or that family lineage, I have completely abandoned them all. I beg you to mercifully keep me by your feet, calling me your own. Achyuta Gotra. We talk about this initiation. When one gets initiated, then one is formally admitted into the Achyuta Gotra. Whether I'm related to this family lineage or that family lineage, I have completely abandoned them all. I beg you to mercifully keep me by your feet, calling me your own. Vasudeva Ghosha bole Sharane Dhariya, Kripa Kori Rakha Mora, More, Vada Chaya Diya. Vasudeva Ghosh says, since I have tightly grasped hold of your feet, please keep me here by always bestowing their soothing shade. Right. Chaitanya Bhagavat. All right. Exactly where we are. 1 second. Oh, how do I do this? Okay. I wanted to minimize it a little bit. All right, never mind. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Sopadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vashalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatharan. So Mahaprabhu was glorifying Ganga Devi. Yesterday we heard. So he has made up his mind to return to Jagannath Puri, or to go to Jagannath Puri. And on the way, he wants to meet the devotees in Shantipur. So he tells Lord Nityananda, you go to Navadvip, tell them that I'm coming to Shantipur. That's where we left off yesterday. Lord Nityananda is going to carry that order. That night, the Lord and Nityananda Prabhu stayed in a righteous Brahmana's house. The next day, the rest of the devotees arrived and found Lord Chaitanya. Together, they again proceeded towards Nilachala, Puri. Lord Chaitanya said to Nityananda Prabhu, my dear magnanimous Prabhu Nityananda, you must immediately leave for Navadvip. Srivas Pandit and the other devotees are grievously afflicted due to my departure. You must alleviate their pain, like Krishna sending Balaram to pacify the gopis. You must alleviate their pain. Take this message from me to them, that on my way to Nilachala, I will be waiting for them in Shantipur in the house of Advaita Acharya. You bring them right away. I'm going to Fulia to see Haridas. Sending of Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya headed for the village of Fulia. Yeah, so Haridas Thakur, initially he lived in Benapole. The whole prostitute and all that pastime happened in Benapole. And then he made his way to Navadvip and used to live in Fulia Gram, which is quite close to Shantipur, Advaita Acharya's place. They would associate together. So this Fulia is the place where that snake pastime happened. Haridas Thakur was staying in a cave, just chanting the holy name. There was also a snake, a very poisonous snake in that cave living. Kind of like Kalia, kind of a snake. So the poisonous fumes were so intense that when the devotees would come to meet Haridas, they could not stand there actually. But of course, Haridas Thakur was oblivious to all that, and he would just chant the holy name. But the devotees were concerned, and Haridas Thakur saw that the devotees were having difficulty when they came to meet him. And they were requesting him to please find another place, residence. And Haridas Thakur, to not inconvenience the devotees, he finally agreed. And he made a prayer, or internal prayer. He's thought to himself that if by the end of today the snake doesn't leave, then I will leave. And as soon as he made that prayer, a little while later, the snake, super soul, was there in the snake as well. The snake just slid out and left. So Fulia is that place, and a very beautiful place. Another thing is, yeah, this is the place where, yeah, anyway. On an Ekadashi day in 2005, Mayapur Yatra in Fulia, actually Maharaj had shared about, yeah, in this place, Haridas Thakur's place, shared about giving me this Lakshmi Nrsimha deity. 2005 Ekadashi, Pulia. Anyway, having received his orders from Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda Prabhu journeyed towards Fulia in exaltation. Lord Nityananda is always absorbed in the bliss of love of Godhead, his voice becoming like thunder in ecstasy. Now he traveled almost like a maddened elephant, oblivious of everything around him, no rules or taboos restricting his actions. He stopped under a Kadamba tree for a while, standing like Krishna, his body bending in three places. He began to play the flute rapturously. When he saw cows grazing, he rolled on the earth and moving like a calf. He sucked milk from cows. Anyway, Ritu Mataji wanted Nityananda. When he saw cows grazing, he rolled on the earth and moving like a calf, he sucked milk from cows. He would break out into a dance while walking, unaware of his surroundings, always submerged in bliss. At other times, he just sat down on the road and wept so bitterly that it would pain one to see him in that condition. Sometimes he would suddenly stop and start shaking with peals of laughter. Then again, he would take the clothing covering his body and wrap it around his head, leaving him naked. At times, he would feel in the mood of Ananta Shesha, making serpent like movements, would enter the waters of the Ganga and float and swim gracefully in the currents. Lord Nityananda's potencies are inconceivable, transcendental, and mysterious. His limitless compassion is unmatched in all the three worlds. Vrindavan Das Thakur's spiritual master is Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda swam in the Ganga all the way to Navadvip. He got out into the banks, withdrawing within himself. His inner mood, he got out into the banks, withdrawing within himself his inner mood, and went straight to the Lord's house. What he saw pained him greatly. Sachi Devi had been totally fasting for 12 days. Life remained in her only on the strength of her devotional service. But she was completely imbued with Mother Yashoda's mood of pining for her son, and tears rained down from her eyes. Whoever she met, she would eagerly ask, "Are you from Mathura? What is the news of Krishna and Balaram?" And swoon in ecstatic spiritual bliss. Now, this is like Krishna and Balaram leaving, Akrura taking them. Then gradually she would again start speaking. There, I can hear their flutes and horns. And there you go. Is Akrura coming to get them? Submerged in this manner, in the mood of intense separation, she forgot her physical cares. Lord Nityananda fell at Sachi Devi's feet, offering his obeisances. The devotees greeted him enthusiastically, but his presence merely intensified their pining, and they began to weep. Mother Sachi cried out, "My son, my darling boy," and swooned. So Lord Nityananda has arrived. Second. The devotees felt a surge of new emotions ripping through their hearts. They embraced Nityananda and were bathed with his tears of ecstasy. He calmed them down and told them the good news. He said, "You must come immediately. The Lord is waiting for us at Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur. I have come here to take you there." The devotees who had become lean and weak due to intensely missing their Lord now received new life. They were jubilant and loudly chanted Krishna's name. Sachi Devi had not touched food or water from the day Nimai left her house to take sannyas 12 days earlier. Only thoughts of Nimai could sustain her life. For Nityananda, condition was unbearable. He spoke soft, reassuring words to her. "Thing is unknown to you about the mysterious activities of Krishna. What knowledge can I give you about Krishna? Do not burden your heart with despair. Even the Vedas personified cannot receive the grace and good fortune already in your possession. That supreme object sought by the Vedas is your son. He is the life and soul of every living entity. That same supreme personality has accepted all spiritual and material responsibilities concerning you." And his mother. He made this promise with his hand on his chest. The Lord always knows what is best for everyone. should simply surrender everything at his feet and live happily and peacefully. Now, Mother, please go and cook for the satisfaction of all the devotees. This is devotional service to Krishna. Everyone is eager to taste your cooking. If you remain fasting, then Krishna has to fast also. I'm extremely desirous of relishing the offerings prepared for Krishna by you. Amazing. Nityananda's sweet words were like soothing balm to her afflicted heart. She got up and went to make necessary arrangements for the cooking. First, she fed Nityananda Prabhu, and then she fed all the Vaishnavas. She saw to it that everyone was fully satisfied, and then she sat down to eat herself. Devotees were pleased that Sachi Devi had broken her 12-day fast. Enlivened by the prasada, the Vaishnavas prepared to go to meet their beloved Lord with Nityananda Prabhu. The residents of Navadvip were by now familiar with the details of Nimai's sannyas ceremony. The Lord's wonderful sannyas named Krishna Chaitanya had a miraculous effect on them. They chanted out loud the Lord's name and glorified him. Some devotees just went mad. Srinivas Acharya's father, he kept chanting. He saw the sannyas ceremony, or he didn't see the sannyas ceremony. He wanted to go see the sannyas ceremony. But then some devotees were returning from the sannyas ceremony, and he heard the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So Srinivas Acharya's father, I did forget his name, before he became a father, he just kept chanting Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, practically gone mad. So they renamed him Chaitanya Das. So they chanted out loud the Lord's name and glorified him. When the people of Navadvip came to know that the Lord was presently in Fulia village, they became elated and decided to go and see him there. Old, young men, women, and children all hastened to Fulia, chanting jubilantly, Hari, Hari. Those atheists and fault finders who had previously been vituperative against the Lord were now eager to reach Fulia with their friends. So, if you remember, this was one of the reasons of Mahaprabhu taking sannyas. The devotees were fine anyway; they were already devoted. But these offenders and all these other people, for them he took sannyas, thinking that they will change their ways. They will offer respects to a sannyasi and thereby then thus rectify themselves. So actually, he came to Fulia Koladvip to deliver these offenders. Those atheists and fault finders who had previously been vituperative against the Lord were now eager to reach Fulia with their friends. They said he was born in Navadvip, but his real identity remained a secret. Out of ignorance, we maligned his work and spiritual mission. Now we must fall at his feet and beg forgiveness. There you go. Only then will all our offenses be exonerated. Thousands of people flocked here. The boatmen were in a dilemma. Everyone wanted to be the first and they could not risk crossing the rivers. Yeah, Maharaj, remember this? Remember this river? Tiladar. We are hearing all this in Koladvip. So people forget the boats. I think we're coming there. They just got hold of like banana trunks, whatever they could find. Yeah, there you go, banana tree trunks. Someone uses a raft. They just cross the Ganges. Boatmen were in a dilemma. Everyone wanted to be. We saw the Ganga, right? In the video. Mayapur, amazing Darshan. Thousands of people flocked to the pier. The boatmen were in a dilemma. Everyone wanted to be the first and they could not risk crossing the river overloaded with people. Many found their own means to cross the river. Some went in small dinghies, others tied themselves to upturned earthen water vessels, pots, which made them float easily, right? Pots. Someone used a raft made out of banana tree trunks, which was also very handy. Even pregnant women dared the crowd and jostling, breathing heavily from exertion. They simply chanted Lord Chaitanya's name and made the journey. For the blind ones and lame ones, the way became suddenly broad and facile just by remembering Chaitanya's name. Mukham karoti vachalam fangum langayate kire. Yat kripatam vande Shri Gurum Dinatharanam. Even a lame man can cross mountains. For the blind ones, and the blind ones can see the stars in the sky. For the blind ones and lame ones, the way became suddenly broad and facile just by remembering Chaitanya's name. A boat carrying hundreds found it impossible to make the other bank and capsized in midstream. Oh, you know how it is in India, crazy. This, of course, did not deter the people. They jubilantly chanted the Lord's name and floated upstream. There you go. People didn't need boats, they didn't need anything. The people's hearts were so infected with joy that it seemed they actually floated in an ocean of divine mirth. Vrindavandas Thakur Shumes. Those who did not know how to swim seemed to have miraculously become buoyant. Hey, like me, I guess. By the grace of the Lord, they also were able to cross the river without difficulty. The sky reverberated with ecstatic sounds of the holy name. The people had only one thought on their minds: to reach Fulia, disregarding all comfort and bodily needs. They joined the mass chanting with careless, happy abandon. Their loud cries of Hari echoed in the vaults of the cosmic creation as they reached Fulia. This is not even Shantipura, it's Fulia. This wonderful sound of many people chanting reached the Lord. He came out to greet them. The people saw him and held their breath. His exquisite appearance as a sannyasi and his extraordinary beautiful face, which eclipsed the beauty of millions of moons, were a memorable vision for all. The Lord was continuously chanting the holy name as tears of ecstasy cascaded down his cheeks. Everyone was now falling to the ground to offer their obeisances. 1 second, just see if you can find a picture. Yeah. Sonia's picture. If I can minimize this one, how to do that? There you go. Sonia's picture is this one. Yeah. Uh, Trying to figure this out here. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So I'm trying to see if I can simultaneously do that. 1 second. Let's wait here. Where's that PDF? Okay, this is good. Chaitanya Mangala, close that. How do I get? I had to pull this one here, I think. Yes, there you go. No. Oh, but I can't read. I think I can't read like that. Anyway, let's just continue. Can't read that small. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. The wonderful sound of many people chanting reached the Lord. He came out to greet them. The people saw him and held their breath. His exquisite appearance as a sannyasi and his extraordinary beautiful face, which eclipsed the beauty of millions of moons, were a memorable vision for all. The Lord was continuously chanting the holy name in tears of ecstasy, as tears of ecstasy cascaded down his cheeks. Everyone was now falling to the ground to offer their obeisances. People fell on top of each other in their fervor to show respect to their Lord. They did not care if there were thorns on the ground. They were all boundlessly happy. They lifted their hands and prayed the Lord for his protection and shelter, crying out, "Save us, save us." The village of Fulia was now teeming with millions of people who were captivated by the intimately charming face of the Lord. The fields and roads were overflowing with people who had no intention of returning to their houses, for they had even for a new moment beheld the lustrous, benign face of the Lord. The Lord blessed them all with his merciful glance and proceeded towards Shantipur. When he arrived in Advaita Acharya's house, Advaita Prabhu fell at his beloved Lord's lotus feet. He began to weep, relieved of the miserable pain of separation. He remained supine, his arms curled around the Lord's lotus feet, and bathed them with his tears of love. At last, Lord Chaitanya bent down and lifted Advaita Acharya into his warm embrace. Advaita, now soaked by the ecstatic tears of the Lord, again fell to his lotus feet in spiritual perturbation. Calming himself and Advaita, the Lord sat down. Advaita's house was vibrating with loud exultation. Can you imagine? Achyutananda was Advaita's son. He was a charming and effulgent little child, endowed with extraordinary intelligence and supreme influence. Naked as usual for that age and covered in dust, Achyutananda came running to greet the Lord. Wow. His great fortune was that he was Advaita's son. He was blissful and smiling, for he knew the identity of Lord Chaitanya. He fell at the Lord's feet full of respect. The Lord lovingly took him into his arms in spite of the dust smeared on his small frame. The Lord said, "Achyuta, you know that Advaita Acharya is also my father? Hence, this makes us brothers." Little Achyuta replied, "You are the well-wishing friend of all living entities. The Veda described that you are the original father of everyone." This greatly pleased and amused the Lord, and he smiled knowingly. The Vaishnavas were amazed at his words. They said, "These words are not the babblings of a mere child, but actually carry deep import. Achyuta must be a great personality." At this moment, Nityananda Prabhu arrived with all the devotees and intimate servitors of the Lord from Navadvip. When the devotees saw their Lord, the dear Lord Srivas Pandit and the others began loudly chanting, it fell flat on the ground, offering prayers and tears as the Lord's lotus feet. These devotees were as precious to the Lord as his very life. He lovingly embraced each one of them. The devotees cried out in the pain of ecstasy and separation. Their cries purified the entire earth. To hear pure devotees weeping in love of Godhead can cut asunder the bondage of birth and death of all living entities. This wonderful opportunity was now made available to everyone by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Even Lord Brahma rarely receives such favors. Seeing his beloved associates from Navadvip again after an absence, he began to dance rapturously, saturated in ecstatic love of himself. For he is a supreme Lord. The devotees began to sing, and the Lord encouraged them with loud exclamations of "Sing, sing." The Lord caught Nityananda Prabhu by the hand and spun around in ecstatic joy. Stealthily, Advaita Acharya came up from behind and touched the Lord's feet, placing the dust on his head. The Lord's dancing postures were enchanting. Simultaneously, he manifested the different symptoms of devotional perturbations of weeping, shivering, horripilation, mirth, and so on. The movements and nuances of the limbs and different parts of his transcendental body were an expressive composition of some divine love poetry. His arms raised in exultation, and chanting Hari Hari, he enchanted the devotees and submerged them in an ocean of ineffable bliss. The devotees were just recently deprived of their Lord's presence, and now to be again in his company by his mercy was certainly cause for extreme exhilaration and celebration. They surrounded their Lord and danced and pranced, oblivious of everything else. They fell on each other, bumped against each other, and rolled on the ground. smearing their bodies with the dust of everyone's feet. Someone pressed another devotee's feet against his chest and remained saturated in bliss, tears of joy flowing unrestrained from his eyes. Devotees could not contain their happiness, having regained their beloved Lord and Master. The Lord of Vaikuntha, dancing free from all care with his associates, is indeed an extraordinary sight. Oh, this goes on. Just last paragraph. Above the sounds of dancing, the singing of the Lord's name rang out loud and clear. Advaita Acharya's house resounded with sounds of mirth. Mirth means extreme joy, of which only Nityananda Prabhu was fully aware. Lord Chaitanya went around embracing his loving associates and infusing them with love of Godhead. Receiving the Lord's divine touch, the devotees became mad with joy. In a loud voice that resembled the rumbling of thunder, they expressed their boundless bliss. This further increased the pleasure of others. As the Lord danced with his associates, Mother Earth seemed to sway and tilt. Nityananda, Advaita, and the others all were caught in a maelstrom of infinite ecstasy, and they freely allowed their limbs and body to express their ceaseless happiness. After a while, the Lord stopped dancing, and entering a mood of divine lordship, he sat down upon the throne of Lord Vishnu. Oh, all right. So we're going to pause there. Page 224. Okay. So, Namrata Dikshit, did you get a darshan of Mayapur? Have all of you gone to Mayapur? Anyone not gone to Mayapur here? Maybe Namrata. Anybody else? Oh, I haven't gone to Mayapur. Like the boatman, the scholar. Half your life is. Anyway, we'll go soon.
Prabhuji, we didn't get chance to go to Mayapur yet. Please pray for us, Prabhuji.
Okay. Right. It's just blessings and a train ticket away. Okay. Hare Krishna. Anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. This is my favorite pastime of Lord Chaitanya. All the devotees going to have darshan, and I have heard this pastime from the lotus mouth of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and वो इतना इलेबरेट करके बताते महाराज, इतना डिटेल में, छोटा छोटा डिटेल की means it was really so amazing, so blissful. Today I heard it again.
It may be a 3-hour class or something.
Yeah, more than 3 hours, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to stop when he speaks on like Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And he asked permission in between. Shall I continue? Then everybody says Hari Bol.
Yeah. Yeah.
So amazing, Prabhu. Very beautiful pastime.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Very wonderful, Prabhuji. Like one wonderful line caught my attention. Like I just extracted it out. Their cries purified the entire earth. To hear pure devotees weeping in love of Godhead can cut asunder the bondage of birth and death of all living entities. This wonderful opportunity was now made available to everyone by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So I'm feeling like this opportunity is of pure devotees weeping in love, ecstasy of love of God. Then all these are made available by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada to all of us, like how we see like pure devotees with uh, pure love and devotion, how they keep glorifying the Lord, and we get the opportunity to hear. So yeah, it has great potency, and we should take it that as a blessing on us. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Did we read the sentence? I don't remember. Or are you reading ahead or behind? Or anyway,
No,
it's okay.
Prabhuji. In like just before end sections only, you read that sentence, so I just
I read the sentence. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Wonderful. Yeah. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept number obeisances of Krishna. It's also amazing pastime, and so I mean, just hearing it's so nice. And here, another amazing thing I found was the same people who were finding fault with Lord Chaitanya earlier, and they all got attracted, and then they got, so there is such a transformation in the hearts of all the people who earlier were not believing in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or even abuse, finding faults with him. So that was a very, very important thing, because the holy name and the association of pure devotees, it is so powerful. It's very transforming actually. And like Akhila Prabhu was saying just now, the pure devotees association is so valuable, so unique. And so we are all very fortunate. And I think I should be more and more conscious of the value of the association of pure devotee and Vaishnavas, and try to be in a position to receive their mercy which they're trying to give to us. Thank you, bro.
Hey, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Anything else? Just purifying to just read, these scriptures, whether we are able to understand them or not, relate to them or not. But just like Maharaj Prataparudra, when he sees these devotees coming to Jagannath Puri for the first time, like you think like, wow, who are these people? Who are these devotees? Of course, Jagannath Puri also had many amazing devotees. But when he saw these devotees, he was asking, I've never heard such Sankirtan before. I've heard many a Sankirtan, but this Prema Sankirtan. And Gopinath Acharya is telling them, yeah, this is not some ordinary Sankirtan. This is not Sadhana Sankirtan. This is Prema Sankirtan. Devotees who are in the perfected stage, chanting the holy names. So, yeah. So the symptoms here all are that are being described. They're all beyond Raga Marga that Maharaj has been talking about. Raga Marga, the internal path, spontaneous attraction. for the Lord and the devotees and the holy name and the prasadam and everything. Yeah.
And Prabhu, I find that hearing the narration while you're reading slowly and nicely, it's so nice to hear. When I read, I don't get the same effect. As I'm hearing now in the association of devotees, it's much more powerful, I find.
It's something about reading aloud, and not just reading aloud as you're saying, together with devotees. Sankirtan, yeah. Even 2-3 persons, it's different as you're saying. Even one of the person is different.
Yes. A lot of difference.
Krishna Prabhu, feel the same. It is so nice here when you read. It feels like you're actually explaining it while you're reading. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, Vrindavan Das Thakur, anyway, in his translation, the devotees have done. Yeah, of course, I tried to read it with proper consciousness. Yeah, sometimes I read fast, but anyway, it's nice. Whenever I'm reading, when I'm doing this, I'm just remembering. So we are sort of following parampara in a way. Sometimes, occasionally, Prabhupada would just read Krishna book, Janmashtami, right? Just read Krishna book chapter after chapter. Recently, Guru Maharaj was reading some books, like I'll build you a temple or this or that. Just minimal explanation, just reading. Just reading. Yeah, it's very important.
I mean, just like as you're mentioning just now, Maharaj Prataprudra, from his palace when he saw all these devotees. And I think Gopinath Acharya only explained one by one. He describes each devotee, the name.
Yeah.
And just hearing Maharaj Prataprudra, he gets so excited.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, and the Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that actually just hearing, how many names can I narrate? Just hearing the names of these devotees, one can awaken love of God. So not just the holy names of the Lord, but the holy names of the devotees also, as Akhiladhara was saying. Yeah, because even with the devotee, there's a Nama Rupa Guna Lila, like that. The moment, for example, the moment we utter the name of Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur, immediately, everything, whatever little we know about him, his life and pastimes, they come to remembrance. Prabhupada. Anyway, so it all depends on how absorbed we have been in them that remembrance comes. Narottam Das Thakur, etc. Yeah, this is the means. And as we were discussing yesterday, Krishna Katha means devotee Katha also. You cannot separate them. Yeah, the first Krishna Katha in Bhagavatam begins with the Pandavas. So yeah, the gateway, devotees, it is not like an option. It's not an option. It's the devotees are the gateway, Krishna. Otherwise, no access.
And Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it is more contemporary, easily relate with all the devotees, their different moods, and unlike, let's say the Pandavas and all, they're slightly away above the head. But Chaitanya Charitamrita devotees, all the devotees are, although all of them are in the bhava stage, but somehow feel more contemporary. It's easy to relate to them.
Yeah. And as we hear, it's true. When Prabhupada says it's not just some fancy thing, Bhagavad Gita is undergraduate, Bhagavatam is, master's, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is postgraduate, PhD. Yeah, literally where Bhagavad Gita ends, Bhagavatam begins. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. And the first verse is Dharma Projita Kaitava. So literally Bhagavatam begins there. And where Bhagavatam ends with obeisances in the Nam Sankirtan. Right? Last verse of Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita begins there. Literally also. So Krishna, he's showing actually by his own example, as that's one of his reasons of advent, to show how to perform devotional service. He's the best teacher, so he comes. So he's Channa avatar. He comes hidden as a devotee. Anyway, there's yeah, sometimes we have this debate at whom Gaur Govinda, I keep teasing him. Hey, Krishna, Jagannath, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who's your favorite? Anyway, but they're all the same Lord, just different purposes, different modes. Okay, anything else? Otherwise, we'll end. I hope you can all, relate to your coordinate side details better now. Anyway, by hearing coordinate side, about coordinate side.
Yes, Prabhuji. It's happening like that only. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Okay, 7:58. End here. So tomorrow, I'm not sure about the class. We'll see. Yeah, I may not be able to do class. We'll see. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you wanted to speak once way back. So anyway, if you want to still.
Yes, Prabhuji. I will call you, Prabhuji, today.